Yeah, I will yeah. So yeah, today we are in middle of other session. So for this, I mean probably 10 minutes delay what we had today. So yeah, probably right. So we'll just yeah, I mean just continue with where we left yesterday. The basics about reporting. So today and tomorrow are say important session because like you need to understand the basics about the tool. So once you understood basics about the tool, right? So then all other things, right? So we can start with the object. So probably today and then tomorrow, like we'll see the MSTR reporting basics. So what we do basically is these 2 days we'll have is a MSTR reporting basics, and then so under this specific thing, so MSTR reporting basics. So what we have seen yesterday, right? Okay. So under say MSTR reporting basics, so we have seen so yesterday how to create a sample report. Yeah, but again we'll see again today because like I think yesterday many of them didn't attend. So what we do basically is the how to say create a report, right? So we just today we target to create how to create a new report, and then in that particular report, so once we get into the report, in that specific report, so what is I mean like we need to understand different sections. Once you open a report, it will have different sections. So different sections of a report we need to understand, and apart from that we need to understand say different views of report. So this is what like we'll just try to target to complete today, and then tomorrow basically we'll just try to get more details. Like once you know the basics of the report, so what we do is we will learn microstrategy architecture. So so this is where so tomorrow the entire session will spend on microstrategy architecture. So once we are done with this, right, so then probably we'll start with the actual objects. So from here, right, so we'll start with different objects, building up different objects. So primarily we'll start with say filters and then metrics. So probably my plan by till next weekend is this one. So probably at least we'll be completing, if we complete it, I mean it's very great. So if we don't complete, at least we should be done with say 50% of the metrics. So these are the key things, like so whatever. And again the point I just want to tell is, so people, I mean who are new, you are attending, right? So once you miss this session, so then again it will be tough again to understand. Again in filters we'll spend 3 to 4 hours. You miss 1 hour of session, then it will be very tough for you to follow other sessions, or you don't understand this concept altogether. So at least, right, so you are connecting say from home anywhere, so however, right, so wherever you are, just plan to attend the session, because you miss certain thing, then you don't understand the continuation. So that I can tell you. So at least this week, whatever till this Sunday till next Sunday, so just try to focus on this all things. And yeah, so we'll now just get started with, I mean, how to create a new report and so on. So yesterday we have discussed on the components of MicroStrategy as well. So that components again, I mean, say one component which will be used mostly is the developer interface. So again, I just connect it. So persons who missed yesterday's session, so just try to see. I'm not going to cover all the components which we discussed. So probably, yeah, in a couple of days we'll be sharing that videos, all the old videos. So people who have missed any session, so just probably you can go through that particular video. So I just get to start, and then in the start, so you need to, once you install MicroStrategy in your machine, so you need to go to all programs, and then under all programs you'll find MicroStrategy products as folder. So just click on that particular MicroStrategy folders. Under MicroStrategy say products folder, so you find different components here. So yesterday we discussed the purpose about each of this component, but again, so we'll be using, so 90% of our time, so we'll be using this product. So that is MicroStrategy developer product. So just simply click on that particular MicroStrategy developer, and once you do it, it opens up an interface. In this particular interface, it shows up the credentials, as in say what is a login ID and what is a password. So yesterday as I said, the tutorial version whatever we are working, so the login ID will be administrator and the password will be blank spaces. So once this is there, right, say for example you want to have your own user ID, your own password, that will be, doing it as we continue with the sessions. So but every one of us throughout our course will use the same credentials, login ID as administrator, the password as blank. Just simply click OK. So once you do it, then again, so there are like, once you get to the developer tool, so you'll find two different things, like one is a MicroStrategy Analytics module and then MicroStrategy Analytics module direct. So what are these two, right? You'll understand in detail when we discuss the MicroStrategy architecture tomorrow. So but whenever you open MicroStrategy developer, the higher level you see is MicroStrategy Analytics module or this one. So these two here are called project sources. So this is one project source, the other one is this one. So once you click on plus, once you click on this particular plus symbol, so it is going to expand, and under one project source you will find multiple projects. So in real time as well, so once you connect to MicroStrategy developer, you see your client name, so Citibank or like Prudential Insurance, or else any communication, or else whatever the client you are working, that client name will show up at the top, and under this particular client name you are going to see different projects, say project 1, project 2, project 3, or different modules in it. And out of this particular different modules, you will be assigned to one single project. So when you join any particular organization, you will be given access to one project source. Under that project source, so what I say basically is, if that project source is having 10 projects and you need to work on only one project, so whenever I log in as admin and then I click on this, I can see all 10 projects, but I can just control you as a user. Whenever you log in with your credentials, I can give access to only one single project. So when you log in, you'll be able to see only one single project only. So that also we can just restrict based on the user ID, whatever ID you have, right? We can restrict some security. So on that lines, assume you come to project source. Under the project source, you will find multiple projects, project 1, project 2, project 3, and so on. So you will have different projects. Under these projects, you will be assigned to a single project, and stating that for a minute, like throughout our course, we'll be using this project. So assume you have been assigned to this project, and this project has very good examples on the retail domain. Hence we'll be taking this one, the MicroStrategy tutorial one. And under MicroStrategy tutorial project, you have different objects. Yesterday we said public objects, schema objects, and whatever you create under administration, right? So whatever you create here, all this particular list of objects are called as configuration. So whatever you do here, you create any object, they come under configuration object. So whenever you create any configuration objects, that will be responsibility of MicroStrategy administrator. And when it comes to this one, so whatever objects you create, for example, you are creating our public objects. So whose responsibility is this? Means it is a responsibility of a MicroStrategy developer and the persons who are working under schema objects. So this will be the responsibility of architect. So when we say MicroStrategy architect, he is going to work on schema object. Whenever we say MicroStrategy developer, he is going to work on this set of public objects. And whenever we say an administrator, So he is going to work on this particular objects, whatever you create here on this particular object. So this is what we discussed. In MicroStrategy, we'll have three types of objects: configuration, public, schema. Configuration objects are worked by administrator. Public objects are worked by developer. Schema objects are worked by architect. So, and then what we'll do basically is, so we'll start with developer course at first, then we'll see on architect, and based on your interest, we'll see the administration. So today we'll start with a developer part, as per MicroStrategy developer. So what will be your major work is, your major work is to create reports. So your major work lies here. You need to create different reports. And what we do basically is, whatever I said, today and tomorrow we'll see some basics on this reporting. So once we know how to create this report, a basic report, how to create it, right? And then understand what sections we'll have there and what are the different views we'll have. Some basic concepts on the reports by end of the session tomorrow, we'll be covering it. But again, from say after 2 days, then what is the course basically is, so we'll start creating this object filter, and this filter we need to use on the report. So how to create filter object and use on the report. Then next thing, how to create metric and use on the report. So we need to create a metric and then use on the report. Create prompt, use on the report. Create consolidation, custom group, auto style and use on the report. Create template, use on the report. Create searches, use on some other object which is used on the report. So our entire course will be here only, creating reports and using different objects in it. So once we are done or we are familiar with creation of reports, then basically we use a set of reports to create the documents. We use a set of reports, combine that together to create a documents or a dashboard. So this is what the primary things which we have under the public objects. So once we are done with this part, then we move on to the advanced thing or the architect stuff. So yesterday, as we created our own folder, say a demo reports folder, I'll just use this folder. So for our course, like whatever reports we are creating, right? So I'll just use here. So to create, or else, yeah, people who missed out yesterday. So to create a folder is as similar as you create on your desktop any new folder. So you need to just come to whichever folder you require. Okay, I want reports. So under this, basically I have like say other different folders here. So just come over here, then click on new, and you have various options listed here, out of which you need to go to say which object you need to create. So I want to create a new folder. I've selected it, and then I'm just providing, say for example, demo reports. So once I just open this one, so at this particular place, let's try to create all our reports. Whatever we see as part of our course, we'll just build here. So now what I am doing is, I'm just simply right clicking, and then you need to create a new report. So again, just come to the same option, but instead of folder, we need to navigate to the report. So just come to that particular report, then click on that report. So once you click on that report, so you get various templates here, like blank report, product analysis, and so on. So all these are different templates. So people who worked on Microsoft presentation and so on, you see different templates. So we'll get to that templates also, but as of now, I'm just selecting a blank report and just click this one. And once you click this one, loading report editor. So this entire thing is a report editor, and this report editor has different sections in it. So in this particular thing, I'm just closing different things here. So all these are different sections of a report. So once you just come over here, you see one section as report view or local template. So this section we called as report template. And then on this report template, you are going to place attributes and metrics. So just remember one key point, we cannot place facts on the report. Hence we aggregate the facts to create metrics, and that metrics we have to place on the report. So on the report template, we place attributes and then metrics as of today. but slowly we learn other objects. You learn, say, consolidation, you learn templates, you learn custom groups. Even this has to be placed on the report template. But for today, what we do is we place some attributes and we place some metrics on the report. And once we do it, right, so how to run it, and I mean, what are the different ways we can see data, all these things we'll see it. So now basically I'm just coming to I'm just closing this. Again, I'll just try to open this. Just right click, then go to new, and then just come here, click on report, choose that particular blank report, click OK. And then you see that our last whatever view we had, the report template view is showing up. And to this report template, you want to add some attribute, you want to add some metric. So in order to add some attribute, add some metric, you require one section. So what is that section? We'll just see it. So you just need to come at the top here, file, edit, and then you have a view menu. So just click on that view menu, and once you do it, so you have an option called as object browser. So this is a section which helps you to browse through any object in the project. So what object browser does basically is, in your project, right, whatever object you create, be it public, be it schema, be it configuration. So any object you create, right, so that particular object is going to, right, so that particular object, I mean, you can browse through object browser. So in order to see that particular object browser section, just simply click on that object browser, and then you see a section got added towards your left hand side, that is an object browser section. So in this particular object browser section, you see various options here. You can just expand this, and you see here now you can just get to like public objects, you can get to schema objects, hierarchies, all these things. Whatever you have in project, you can just navigate through them. And once you do it, basically, so towards this one, if you look at here, you see by default there are certain shortcuts. So these shortcuts are similar to your bookmarks or favorites. So whichever we use mostly, right, so those things is going to present under my shortcuts. So whatever you see here, right, so you see say metrics, or you click on attributes, you can directly browse it. So instead of going here and then just navigating, right, so if something which is not present in the shortcuts, definitely you need to just browse it. But if, say for example, you want something which is present here, right, so directly you can just click and add it. So now on my report template, I want to add some attribute. Attribute means in the data warehouse a dimension. Metric means a measure. This also we've seen yesterday. So attribute means any dimension we refer here as an attribute, and then metric means a measure. So to this report, I want to add some attribute and then metric. So I want to see what is my, say, region wise sales. So I just come to my attributes, and in my attributes, so just go to geography, and in the geography, so only the thing, so you'll get familiarized with all these folders in a day or two. So you just, I want to add any object, be it attribute or metric, come to that folder, click here. So once you click here, it shows different folders. Each of this folder is a hierarchy. Once you get into customer, you see all attributes related to customer. You get to geography, you see all the attributes related to it. So let me show you. So I click on time, year, quarter, month, day. All these are the attributes which come under time. And similarly, you get to products. All these are the attributes which are there under the products. And on similar lines, you get to geography. Under geography, country, call center, region, employee, all these things are present under geography. So in a day or two, once we just start navigating through the folders, today it might be new, okay, which attribute is present where, but probably you see this screen for 3-4 days, right? So in a week time you'll be comfortable, okay, this column I want, which folder is this present, this column I want to place, which folder it is present, and so on. So I want to place a region, I want to see how my regions, in each region how my sales are running. So just I go to geography, and then I just try to place this region here. I place my attribute, and then I want to see region wise what is the sales that is happening. Region is just and like say attribute or a descriptive which describes all the regions, but it will have meaning when we just add some metrics to it. So for that specific reason, I want to add some metric. So whenever you want to add any metric, so just come to this particular metrics, click on metrics, and within the metrics, so just get to, I mean, there are again various folders, but generally as part of our course, we'll be using sales metric. So which is very key for any retail business. So just go to that sales metric, and under the sales metric, you find various different matrices here, different measures here. So I'm just placing my revenue here. So region wise revenue, revenue means the sales. So once you do it, then click on run. So just try to understand here, this is a key thing. So just click on run. So once you click on this run, what the control does is it goes through a process, and that process we'll discuss as part of tomorrow's session. So once you click on this button, there will be some background process that will be happening, and that background process, there will be a step-by-step process, and using that process, it goes to data warehouse or it goes to the database, and from the database, it is going to bring the data. So to have this process, definitely it has to take some seconds, or if the data is more, right, it may take even minutes of data. So I just click on run report, and then it goes to database, and then it brings the data. So now if you look at this data here, you see a region here like central, mid-Atlantic, northeast, northwest, south, southwest, south. So this again the regions which are in US, right? They have classified this region as per the US, and then this is what the corresponding revenue. Okay, in this particular central, this is what the revenue. Mid-Atlantic, this is what the revenue. Northeast, this is a revenue. Web, this is a revenue, and so on. So you could see the sales across different region. So now just try to understand here. So now just remember one value. The first one, central. If you look at this one, 50,29,000 I have here. And then what I am doing basically is, whenever I've executed my report, now you are seeing some data here. Central this data, south this data, and so on. So whatever data you are seeing, right? So this data is in tabular format. This data in the tabular format. So what does that particular tabular means? It will be in a form of like I'm in Excel, like say rows and columns here. So but say for example, this view you want to see in a graph, or you want to see what is a SQL that is generated by the tool, right? So there are different options to see that one. So just next to your execute, right? So just come here and then just click on this specific thing here. So now currently you are in grid view. I just select grid view. Just try to see. You are in this view, which is a grid view. Grid view means the tabular view. So apart from grid view, you have again 5 different views. So if you want to see a report, there are 5 different views: design view, grid view, graph view, grid and graph view, and then the SQL view. So now currently we are in a grid view. So whenever you run your report, by default it runs in the grid view. Say for example you want to see a graphical. So the same information you want to see in a pie graph, you want to see in a line graph, you want to see in a bar graph. So just come over here, click on, sorry. So now it shows up different graphs here. So which graph you want? You want bar graph. In that bar graph, whether you want vertical bar graph or whether you want the horizontal bar graph. And then you go to line graph. Which line graph you want? There are various different things. Horizontal various styles. Again vertical various styles. You want to see data in pie. So whether you want a ring pie or a circular pie and so on. You just select this. It shows up at the top. So as of now, say for example, I want to see the data in say horizontal bar graph. So just select that one, click on this and click OK. So once you see it, okay, it is showing a grid and graph. Okay, I'm just giving only a graphical view. So just come here. So now the same specific thing, now you could see that in a graphical, and out of this I look northeast region, right? It's like performing well when compared to any other region. And if you look at this all things, I mean look at the details about southeast and then northwest, because this is where northwest and southeast are have less sales. I look at various things. I look at how many customers are coming, how many employees have in that particular areas, so how many stores I have. Like I take various decisions looking at it, but our thing, we are not business user. We need to show this information to the business users so that they can analyze from there. But now let's restrict here. So I have a data which is displaying in the grid format like this, and then I have the same data which is displaying the data in the graphical format. So it is a bar. So you want in another style, just right click simply. So on just clicking itself, it is going to convert the data. So you just go to pie. So I want to see the data in a pie. Just select this one, and then say for example, I'm just doing some options that will say. So now looking at this one. So which one will be easy for the users to, analyze their data faster? Will it be graphical view or will it be the grid view? Okay, so fine, cool. So whatever you said, right, graph is easy because so when you look at that graphs, right, you can understand, the stats easily, all right? So that is where, so but these are graphs, but we'll in the dashboard we'll have advanced visualization. So during the dashboard session, we'll get into more details on the graphical as well as the widgets or advanced graphs, we can say in short. So this particular graphical part we shall discuss that. And apart from graph, you have another option wherein grid and graph. You want to see both are together. You want to see this one here and this one. You want to see one below the other, you can just do it. So based on some of the client requirements, you have to show both of them as well. And then you can just adjust the ratio also. This you want 25%, this you want 75%. All this the settings will see as part of formatting sessions. So just come here, and then the one thing, yeah, most of you guys may not like it. So the tool will generate the SQL. You need not write SQLs, but again, you need to analyze that SQL what the tool generates, right? So you need to get to SQL view. In the SQL view, you can find out what is the SQL that has been generated by the tool. So this tool itself will take care of generating the SQL, but you should be in a position to understand the SQL, to understand the SQL. So fine. So just come over here. Again, I am getting to grid view. So once you create a report, you can see data in 4 different views: grid view, graph view, grid and graph view, and then the SQL. You want to see the SQL generated, this one. But to see data, these are the 3 things: grid view, graph view, grid and graph view. SQL view is to see the SQL generated by the tool. And then you have the first option. What is this means? The design view. So whenever you are opening that report, whenever you are opening the report, so that report is going to open up in the design view. When you right click new report, that new report opens in the design view. So design view is a view in which you are going to add your attributes, add your metrics, and so on. So now just try to look at this one. We'll get into details of this only. You see now region and this specific thing, say revenue and so on. So now what I am doing is I'm just getting over here, and then I'm clicking on design view. Just try to see, as soon as you get into design view, you don't see data. Design view, from the name itself, design view means you have to place or you have to design your report. Designing of a report is placing objects on the report, placing attributes, placing metrics, placing filters, prompts, and so on. So all objects, placing those objects we do in the design view. So you want to add any other object, then you just come over here and you can just add it. So now you have seen that region wise revenue, and for central it was having 50 lakh. But what I am doing is I am just going to attribute, and then the metric remains same. This metric is going to remain same, or else let me remove that region also, and then just try to run this report once. You see this value. So you see a sales of say unit 10, 100,000, 10,000, like 10 lakh, 3 crore 50,000 some dollars. So what is this revenue? Anyone, any inputs? Okay, sum or aggregate of what? Fine, I agree. Sum and aggregate are correct, but to be more precise, right? That sum is of what? Sum or aggregation? Total revenue, right? Perfect. So that is a total revenue which is there in the project. So in my entire project, so that is my total sales. So now that total sales, whatever this particular 3 crores 50 lakh, so basically whenever you play certain region, so now what is happening is, just try to see, you want to add something, go to design view, and in the design view select which one you want to add, select attribute or metric, go to the respective folder. Okay, I just go to, say for example, product, and then I apply category assume for a minute. Then just try to run this. So if you sum up all these things, assume for a minute, I want to sum up as well and then show you. So look at this grand totals, simple thing. So you got the same option here, but that same total now has been aggregated at category level, means for books, for electronics, for movies, and then for the music. So this is a total of everything in the project. Now this total is breakdown on your category. Okay, for books, this is my sales. Electronics, this is my sales. Movies, this one, and then music. Or else you want to further break down. Say for example, now just look at this one. Now everyone focus here. Books I have. What is the value? Just look at the values here. 26 lakhs 40,000. 26 lakh 40,000 is for books. So just come over here and then get into design view. So now a very simple question to you. I just go to time and then I just add up my year. Okay. So if I run my report now, do I see sales? Again that same 20 lakhs change for books, or the sales will be different now when I run this report now. So the question is, earlier you have seen for books there was some 20 lakhs odd, but yearly sales with category. Okay, so will that value will be same or different then? Okay, fine. So it will be different. Okay, earlier this revenue got aggregated or breakdown only on year, but now this revenue will be breakdown or aggregated on both, as Pradeep said, category and revenue, on both category and on both category and then year. So once you run it, the total will be same for books, but again it will be split into different years. When you run this, just try to see here now, 2010 again books. So if you sum up these books, this, again it shows you the same result only for 3 years books. So why here only 3 years is getting displayed means whatever sample database is given to us, right? That sample database has data for only 3 years. Hence we are able to see data for 3 years, and it has data for only 4 categories, and we are able to see data for 4 categories. Now if you look at this data, revenue is getting aggregated on books as well as for 2010, same for 11, 12. If you aggregate all 10, 11, 12 books, you see that same 20 lakhs or change, whatever you have seen. So your metrics will be aggregated or it will be changed based on what attributes or what dimensions you have on the report. So your metrics is going to aggregate on all the dimensions which are present in the report. So whatever dimensions or whatever attributes you place, so based on that your revenue is going to, or your any metric is going to aggregate. Your any metric is going to aggregate. So now basically, so with it, right, so one thing, metric aggregates at various levels based on different dimensions you place it, and the other one is about this one. So once you just come here, a design view, you want to add any object. So any, say for example, I want to add profit. Go to metrics, sales metric, just come over here and then just double click, that's it. So once you place it, then click on run report. Alright, so now it shows up the profit as well. So you add something, you need to go to design view, and whenever you run your report, by default it shows up in grid view. that is in tabular format. You want to see data in graphs, you need to go to graphical view. You want both grid and graph to be displayed one next to other, you need to come here. You want to see the SQL generated by the tool, you need to go to the SQL view. So these are the different views we have on our report. So any question on views? So on the different views, what we have basically is on the, say, once we open any MSTR report, right? So what are the different views we'll have? So the first thing you get in is design view. This is where you are going to design your report, and apart from design view, say you will have by default when you run, it shows up in a tabular format, which is a grid view. And apart from that, you want to see the data in a graph, you can just see it by switching into graph view. And then you want to see both of together, grid and graph. So wherein you'll have a grid and, say for example, a graph view. There is another view. And you want to see the SQL generated by the tool to analyze, there will be a SQL view. So these are the 5 different views you'll have in a report. So any question on this, on the views of the report? If you are good, then we'll focus on sections of the report. So any questions before we move forward? Okay, fine. So yeah, thanks for the input. So now under the section as well, so we have seen 2 different sections. One is report template, and then we have seen other one, object browser section. So these are the 2 sections which we have seen. So what are these 2 sections? We'll see now. So if you just get to your developer, and then in the developer, I'm just opening up my report. So in this report, if you look, whenever I open any report, let me save this. I just right click, then go to new, and then this one, just get to report, and then say a blank report. Okay, so now whenever you get into any report editor, so if you look at this one towards, these are the 2 key things, a report view or local template. This together we call as a report template section, and this is an object browser section. So in the report template section, you'll be adding up, I said, attributes and then metrics. But again, we'll add many other objects here as well as we go through our sessions. But as of today, what you know basically is 2 different objects, attributes and metrics. So whenever you want to add any attribute, say for example, I want to see employee wise sales. So just go to, say for example, employee, and then go to metrics, and under metrics, so just come over here and then say for example profit, and then say for example revenue. Fine. So I want to see what is their sales they have done, out of which profit they have accomplished, and so on. Fine. So whenever you want to place any object, like you go to public objects, you can place consolidations on the report, custom groups on the report, drill maps to the report, templates to the report, prompts to the report, all these things. Fine. So on this template, we add the objects, and then you have object browser. So what this object browser helps in is, so it is help to browse any object in the project. Any object in the project, you can just browse through the object browser. So these are the 2 sections what we have seen so far. So one is report template. Report template means on this section you are going to add all the objects, and then object browser is a section which helps you to browse different objects from the name itself, object browser. So to browse any object in the project, you make use of object browser section. You make use of object browser section. So that is what you do it. And apart from that, there are like other sections as well. We'll just get to that. So I just run my report. So once I execute my report, now I could see data. So if you look at this particular data here, so I could see Bates, Michael, and so on. So basically I'm seeing different employee names, and then you just scroll down, you can see till last, fine. And then this particular employees, what is their, revenue they have generated. Out of that revenue, what is the profit that has generated. That is perfect. So if you look at this time, how much time it took you, in a less than a second you got this data. And then basically how many rows you have, means how many employees ideally here. So at the bottom right, if you look at there are different stats here: execution time, then how many rows it has fetched, and then columns. Again, the important point, let's just look at this one. You have something called columns listed here, and then here what does columns means is, so if you look at the way employees position and then the way revenue and profit is positioned, right? So what is that point you need to observe here is, so the employee on your report template, right? So this is placed, this employee, whatever you are saying, so this is placed at row level of a report. And whatever you see here, like your revenue and profit, so your revenue and profit, so you see they are placed at a different level. Your metrics, if you look at the way metrics, revenue, profit, right, they are placed at different level. So what is this? Basically your metrics by default will be placed at the column level, and your employee will be, or your any attribute by default will be placed at the row level. So by default your attributes will be placed at row level, and your metrics will be placed at the column level, So if you look at this one, you have two different matrices here, hence it shows that one, columns as two. So you want even, say for example, employee also to move to rows or columns. Once you right click, you get an option to move to columns, to move to page one, or else this particular thing also you can just move to rows, but it shows up a different view. So just one second, select on metrics. Yeah, you can just swap that. So I'm just showing up that. So just move, and then you get an option called move to rows. Simply you need to just select that one. So now what you see is, you see a different view of that. So or else you just want to move employee, say for example, move this to columns, and then click OK. So now you see that particular same information now getting displayed in a different way. So based on the client requirement, right? So they want to see one below the other, or like one next to the other. So based on that, you can just switch that particular rows to columns, or like moves rows to columns, or vice versa. But generally by default, right? By default, your particular attributes, whatever attributes you have, that will be present in the row level, that will be present in the low level. And your matrices, this is again one more view. So your matrices is going to present in the column level. You want to swap it, you can just do it based on your requirement. Okay, so this is what the columns listed, the number of rows, and then basically the execution time it took it. These are some of the stats it provides us. Okay, so once you run your report, you are seeing, okay, this employees, and then basically revenue and profit. Now I want to see this specific employees belongs to which region as well. I want to see employee and their corresponding region as well. So in order to see region, again to this report, apart from employee, I need to add region to the report. So in order to add that region to the report, so just go here and then get to design view, and in the design view, so just get to your attributes, and in the attributes, so just go to which column you want to add it, and then just simply double click on that column, and then you get here. Just one basic thing just try to remember is, so on this particular report, when you are placing up your attributes, try to place them in a hierarchical order. Hierarchical order means whichever is highest one. Say I have country, under country I will have different regions. Under regions I will have call center. Under call center I will have employee. So this whatever hierarchy you have, right, place from your left hand side to right, means region should be first, then call center, employee. If I have country, if I add country at any time, I'm going to add it before region. So just remember that. So whenever you add, you follow that sequence. Okay, I just run this one. Once I execute this, now look at this one. Okay, I have a central, and under central, these are the list of the employees, and this is my revenue, and this is my profit. On a similar lines, Mid-Atlantic, employees, revenue and profit, Northeast, and so on. So in this way, in my project, say I have 34 employees, and similar to 34 employees, I have Central, Mid-Atlantic, Northeast, like this, right? I'll have eight regions in my sample database. Whatever the sample database that is given, so it is going to contain 8 regions. It's like 1, 2, 3. If you just sum up, it shows up 8 regions. So now basically, now I am seeing region wise, okay, employees, where they belong, and then basically what is the revenue, and then what is the profit. Okay, fine. So this is fine. But say for example, now I don't want to see employees from all regions. So instead, I want to see employees from only say a couple of regions. Say for example, Northwest, and say for example, Web, or any 2 regions. So whenever I run my report should not show me complete data. Instead, it has to show me only a subset of data, only a subset of data. So I want to apply some criteria in order to display only selected rows only. Or generally we say a criteria. Say for example, you need to apply for any job in, say once you have your resume, everything done, right? So you need to apply job, and say for example, any company which has like open positions, they don't call anyone. So instead they provide criteria. Okay, I need to have 6 years of experience person, and that particular experience should be on so and so. So that they are going to restrict, or they are going to control the number of profiles that comes to them. So you want to write any competitive exams, or you want to apply say any government jobs, again they are going to provide some criteria or condition. The reason is they want to filter the applications. So on a similar lines here also, on my report, instead of showing the complete data, I want to see only a part of data, or I want to see only a subset of data. So in order to see that particular subset of data, so in MSTR, so what we do basically is, so we just come here. I'm just getting into design view again because I need to add some condition. To add that condition, go to design view. So you could see now object browser and then report template, 2 different sections here. So you want to enable any other section, again the same option we'll use it, where we have used to enable the object browser. So just to go to view, under the view you have an option called as one more section called as report filter definition. This after couple of days we'll get into details, but as of now there is a section, we are just referring to this one, but to understand this complete thing it may take 3 hours. So now I'm just added this section. Just remember this section will be present above report template, that's it, and this section is used for filtering the data. So now you have 34 rows or something, right? So I just come here, click on this one, then you want to apply condition. On what you want to apply condition? So whether you want to apply condition only on selective regions, or else you want to apply condition on, say, let me do that one, add an attribute qualification. So just click OK, and then on which attribute means I want a list of selective regions. So I want to filter out on regions. So I forget about what I am doing. This entire screen will be discussing in coming sessions. So I'm just selected region, and then I click on add, and once I do that particular add, I want to see okay only south regions. So I just do it south, southeast, southwest, then click OK, then once again just click OK. That's it. So once you do it, region enlist south, southeast, southwest, perfect, then click on run. So once you click on run, earlier you have seen other regions, like for an example central, mid-Atlantic, northwest, northeast, and so on. Now you are seeing only data related to this region. All other regions are not displayed because of your condition. Okay, I don't want based on the region. I want to see on my employees who are my top 10 employees from whom I am getting the major profit. I want to filter out on the profit. So in order to filter out on profit, again the same thing. You just go to design view, and in the design view, So just you remove this filter and you can just apply another filter. Just come here, instead of first one I get to the next one, that's it. So go over there and then just browse here, and once you browse here, on which one I want to apply condition, profit I want to apply, select that column on which you want to apply condition. So once you select that, so forget here, I'm just using some options here. So I'm using something called rank. I want only the top 10 rank, and then I'm using some option top, and then I want only top 10 employees, then click OK. That's it. So now another condition has been applied, which is going to fetch only employees with top 10. That's it. So just try to run this. So for a minute, I'm just removing even this one. So from that list of 34 employees, we have only 10 employees that is getting displayed, and all these 10 employees, right? Why only 10 employees means these are the employees from which I'm getting more profits. I'm getting more profits, so I want to give promotion or whatever it is. They take a decision out of it. So now fine. So this is what they have done it. But now if you look at this one, the values here are not sorted on profit. Instead, they are sorted on their names. If you want to sort on your profit, again simple thing, you want top one at the top two at the second, third and so on. So just come over here, profit, just simply right click on that, then you get an option called as sort rows by, and then based on your requirement choose this option accordingly. You want either ascending or you want descending. I want descending from top to bottom, so I just selected it. If you look at this one, all the values here, right, are sorted in a descending order. There is a highest one, second one, third one, fourth one, and this is a person 10th one, Michael Bates. Okay. So this is how you can just apply a condition. You can just apply a condition by using a section. What is that section called? Report filter. So say for example, so where do you have that report filter section? How to enable? So just if you don't see it, in order to see a report filter section, at the top here, file edit view, just get to view, and in the view just come over here and then click on report filter definition. Report filter definition, what it helps basically is it helps you to apply condition or apply criteria on attributes metrics. So you just select this one and then a section opens up on which you can apply a condition. So where it is present under the view menu, you'll find an option called as report filter definition. Fine, good, you have done that. Say for example, now you want to apply another condition. Say for example, I've executed it, and once I executed, I'm seeing the data. Out of this particular data, alright, so what now I want to again apply condition based on the names. Whoever's name starts with A has to come first and so on. So just sort by ascending. So A first, B, then C and so on. Alright, this is how it shows up. Fine. From this one, I've executed the report, and after execution of the report, I want to apply condition. I want to apply condition as same thing. Instead of profit, now I want to filter out top 10 employees with highest revenue or highest sales. Who is doing that particular highest sales? I want to do it. But say for example, after executing of the report, after running the report, if you get to view menu, in the view menu, do you see any option called as the report filter definition, which we have added earlier? So do you see that option, or that option is not there here? It got disabled. It is not there. Okay. So that option you'll have only is in design view. So what does that mean is, currently we are in grid view. So only in the design view itself you'll have that option to apply report filter definition. But again, when you run this report, you don't get that option. You don't get that option to apply the condition. Again, to apply that condition here, so after execution of the report, you want to filter the data, for which you have another section. What is that means? You go to view and then you get an option called as view filter. So instead of report filter, you have another filter which is called view filter. You just select this view filter. Again, very simple to apply condition. Just click here, then go to field. On which field you want to apply? I want to apply on revenue. So what is that you want to apply that particular condition? Say greater than. Here you don't have an option called top, you don't have an option called bottom, but whereas you have an option to filter out. Okay, I want to find out only the employees whose sales is greater than 5 lakhs, right? So you can just provide this greater than, and then say for example type a value. So just type in there, click on apply. So now instead of like 34, you see now rows got decreased to 26. It is showing up only. If you put like here 10 lakhs, then even that particular number is going to decrease. So let me put instead of 5 lakhs, 10 lakhs, then you need to click on apply. So once you do it, you find only the list of employees who have generated their revenue in excess of 10 lakhs, excess of 10 lakhs. Okay, so this is how you apply condition using the view filter. So before running the report, you want to apply condition, you have report filter. And after running the report, still you want to narrow down your results, you can make use of the view filter. So in this way, say for example, you just again get to design view. So the same view filter, you just come here, you can see in the design view as well. But generally, the condition will be applied, I mean after execution. So you just go here, you have something called report filter. So now if you look at this one, I have an object browser section wherein I can add objects to my report template, and then whatever data I have in that data, if I want to filter before execution, then I'll be using report filter. And if I want to filter the data after execution, then I'm going to use a view filter section. So apart from that, like you just go to view, then you see an option called as report details. So you just click on this report details, then at the top here you see one more section, report filter, view filter and report details. So this is just a description. It describes about your report as in, so what is the name of the report you have given, and in this report whether you have applied any filter. If you apply any filter, that filter it is going to show here. And apart from that particular filter, you just scroll down, there is another thing called report limit which we'll discuss in coming say a week time. So if you apply any report limit, that is going to show up. So it is just a basic description. I mean it describes about the report. So what is your report name, and apart from that whether you applied any report filter, whether you applied any report limit, and if the report you are getting from cache or from the data warehouse. So it provides some basic information, the report template. So you have object browser, a report template, a report filter, view filter, a report details, and then the other one basically you just go here and then you see something called report objects. So you click on report objects here. So then you see a section added above your object browser. You see a section added above object browser, and this to explain it is going to take time. So we'll see in our next session. And apart from that, under view what we'll see, let's try to see. Go to view, under view already you have seen design view, grid view, graph view, grid and graph, SQL, report objects. As I said, we'll see next session. You have report filter definition, you have already seen it. Report details you could see now. View filter you have seen. Object browser you have seen. The shortcuts, whether you want the shortcuts to be shown or not. If you just select this one, it doesn't show shortcuts. You want to see that, just come over here and then select this particular shortcuts option, and then you just go here, and then one last option basically is page by. So just select this particular page by. Okay, so in order to understand page by clearly, so we'll just add one more attribute to the report, region wise, employee, like revenue and profit. Right, so once you do it, so just try to run this. Okay, so if you could see region wise, like employee, revenue and profit, I'm just clearing the condition as well for a minute to understand what does that particular page by means. Okay, so now you could see all the employees. Basically now I want to sort on my region instead of any other thing. So I can see the data, I mean, say in a more user readable format. I'm just selecting this. So once I do under central who are the employees Mid-Atlantic, now it is very good for reading. Right, so now what I want basically is I want to tell you a page by. So you just come out to my design view, or in here also you can just do that page by. So I'll show both the options here. So just get to design view. In the design view, so now you have the page by. So just come here, click on that particular page by, and then you see an option here. So what I'm doing is, so this particular region, just drag this and then place that in a page by. Just simply right click or else go to move to page by. Either drag and drop or else choose this option. Now in that, say that gray area, right, you could see region. What I say basically is region is present in the page by. So what is the advantage of this basically is, so it will help you, I mean, to see one region data at a time. So when there are like say 30, 40 or 100, 2000, right, it will be tough to analyze. So you want to see based on each individual thing. So just come to region, select this. You want to see who are there in South. So just select that particular element. And it shows only the employees under South. So that same report data you are seeing in a different view, or like this view helps in analyzing each region individually basically. Okay, this region and so on. So this is what the purpose of the page by section. So you'll have different, I mean, under the view itself, this top 5, whatever you see, this aggregation, right, the above, all these are the different views of a report that you can see just next to your run button. And then below that SQL view, you see all these are the sections. All these are the sections in the report. So under this particular sections, what we have basically is, we have seen a report template, and then we have seen object browser, and then we also seen report filter. Report filter and view filter will have separate 1 hour session on only differences between them. To understand that entire report filter, it will take 3 hours. But as of now, just remember, right, okay, we have the sections. Okay, we have report filter to filter data. We have view filter to filter data. And apart from that particular view filter, so as I said, you have something called report details, which shows. So what this particular report details shows basically is, so if the report, what is cache basically means, we'll just discuss that in a coming sessions, or tomorrow in session also we'll be discussing if the report is cached or not, or else it shows whether it has any report filters, or else it shows whether it has any report limit as such. So whether it has any report limit or not. So this description report details is going to show. And then you have another thing called as page by. So say for example, whatever data you on a report, you want to see based on year, based on like category and so on. So you can make use of this particular page by. And then what is that section we are pending or will be starting tomorrow is, so there is a section basically that is also say an important thing. So you have something called a report object section. So report object section. So there is another section we have in. So once we are done with this, tomorrow starting we'll see like initial 10 minutes to understand the report objects. And once we are done with the report objects, we will move on to the like the MicroStrategy architecture. So whenever you are clicking on run report, right? So what is happening there? I mean, say what is happening means what is the backend process. So that we'll see in the tomorrow session. So tomorrow session, both report objects as well as we are going to see the MicroStrategy architecture. So tomorrow, so we'll start 10 minutes early, say probably at 9:05, 9:10. So just log in at that time, and yeah, I mean, so fine, that's fine. And then I mean persons who joined today from here, right? So basically I asked you to provide me the details in order to prepare your resumes, like people who have joined from US. So I got inputs only from one person, from Pradeep, and other persons who have your, like say, I mean who are ready to attend interviews, I require your details so that probably tomorrow morning I'll just start preparing your resumes, and then probably in like couple of days, right, we should be good to complete all your resumes who are like eligible. So on that lines, like I request people who have joined from here to share your profiles so that we can just work on your profiles. So fine, so that's all I have. So anyone, any questions you have, right, you can just ask me. So any specific questions on today's session? Okay, so fine. If you don't have any say questions, it's fine. Like we'll just I mean end our session now, and then probably we'll say continue with architecture and other things tomorrow. Fine. Okay, then thanks all for joining. Have a good day. Good night over here. Bye. Tomorrow, no, at 9:10 itself. Like today we were in between of other session. So generally we'll have that from morning India time 7 to 8. But as this was Sunday, they want like 1 hour late, for which we started that session at 8 a.m. Indian time. But from tomorrow again it will be their Monday. They'll be coming at 7. So we'll start by before 9:10 itself. So ensure that you start join by 9:10 Central time, or sorry, so 9:10 Indian time. So we'll start from 9:10. And say from say classroom, right? Who is there today? Is Vinay there or like?
హలో సార్ సాగర్ సార్
Sagar, okay. ఈ వినయ్ లేరా అండి?
రానట్టున్నారు సార్ ఇంకా అంటే ఈవినింగ్ వెళ్తా అన్నారు చూసుకోమన్నారు సో
ఓకే, సరే సాగర్, ఇది రికార్డ్ మీరు రికార్డింగ్ అయితే సేవ్ చేయండి. రికార్డింగ్ నిన్నటిది ఈరోజు మీ సిస్టమ్ లో ఉంది, మిగతావి నా దగ్గర ఉన్నాయి.
ఓకే.
సో ఈ 2 రికార్డింగ్స్ కూడా నాకు రేపు మీ క్లాస్ అయిపోయినాక ఒకసారి ఫార్వర్డ్ చేయాలి నాకు. ఓకేనా?
ఓకే సార్.
ఓకేనా? సో ఎందుకంటే మేము అందరికి ఇవ్వాలనుకుంటున్నాం రికార్డింగ్స్, సో అందుకోసం నాకు రేపు ఈ 2 రికార్డింగ్స్ ఒకసారి చూడండి, నిన్న క్లాస్ ఈ రోజుది. ఓకేనా? ఓకే అండి. థ్యాంక్ యూ సాగర్.